You may not ever want to watch another one of my videos after this one, but I'm going to say it anyway. Get over yourself. Before you push stop on this video, give me a few minutes. Hear me out until the end. It may just change your perspective. So many of us walk around being offended by what people say and do, me included, and sometimes it affects us directly and other times it does not. Our culture seems to thrive on making sure others know exactly how we feel about something. Have I been guilty of doing this? Of course I have. But if I find myself going down this road, I try my best to change paths. For the purpose of this video, keep your thoughts on personal offenses and not through the lens of putting on your mama or papa bear hat. So, what do I mean by get over yourself? I mean, stop getting offended by everything. Stop making everything personal and about you. Stop putting people in their place for making you upset. Hear me out, because this is where many will disagree with me. I get it, but the truth is there will always be people who say and do things that are offensive. I am not saying to let people walk all over you, but the point I want to make is to not pick up the offense, because there is a difference. What is the difference in being offended and picking up an offense? Simply put, being offended means feeling hurt or indignant due to something someone said or did, while taking up an offense is a reactive action of justifying yourself or pushing back against a perceived attack, often involving an argumentative or protective stance. Think of it like this. Let's say you're walking down a trail and there is a large log blocking the path. You have a few choices at this point. Number one, you could ignore it, turn around and go back the way you came and accomplish nothing. Number two, you can move the log out of the way and then move on down the trail. This requires you to face the problem, deal with it, and then move on. Number three, you could pick up the log and carry it with you. This requires you to not only face the problem, but also carry the problem with you. When you carry this large log down the trail with you, it not only makes your walk much harder, but it now affects everyone else on the path. Why? Because they are also having to deal with the problem that you decided to take with you, since you and your log are now taking up the entire path. Does that help you see the difference in getting offended and picking up the offense? If someone offends you, it's okay to communicate why it offended you, but make sure that you're communicating with clarity and not with raw emotions. Just like the log on the trail, you see a problem, you address the problem, and then you move on. You're no longer worried about the log. When you take up the offense, you communicate how you feel. Maybe the person acknowledges the offense and even apologizes. Maybe the person disagrees with you and you don't feel like you've been heard. No matter what, you still carry it with you. You can't move past it, so you tell others. You may get the person back, maybe even remind the person of their wrongdoing over and over again. Carrying this offense can affect others in your life who had nothing to do with the original offense. You are letting the offense weigh you down, and when you're weighed down, you are now focusing on the extra weight. You may even be carrying it unconsciously, and this could be affecting how you're functioning in other areas of your life. Not taking up an offense is much easier said than done, but here are a few tips that have helped me. If they help you, great. If not, you need to find techniques that do help you, because learning how to not take up an offense can be very freeing in life. Tip 1, when someone says or does something that's offensive, try to look at the situation with the bigger picture in mind. We need to ask ourselves, does what this person said or did really matter in the big scheme of our life? If not, we need to let it go. If you do need to respond to the person, do so with your emotions in check and then move on. Many negative comments from others are not even worth our time and energy. Let them look like the jerk and then move on. You not responding often speaks louder than words that are spoken. Tip 2, keep in mind when we take up an offense, we are giving the other person power over us. We are letting what the other person said or did change how we feel about ourselves or others. Don't give them that power. They have most likely already moved on, or they have accomplished what they set out to say or do. Tip 3, we need to face the fact that some of the things that offend us were said or done innocently. The person may have no idea that what they said or did was offensive. This is when it's best to assume positive intent. Was what the person said out of character for them? Could they have been having a rough day? Maybe the comment was not even directed towards us. The truth is, we have all been the person who said or did things we didn't mean or regretted it as soon as it was said or done. And sometimes we justify what we say and do because we know our intent. But no matter the intent, it does not feel good to be on the receiving end. And as I've said many times, the things we say and do can never truly be taken back or undone. What we say and do and how we treat people matter and will always have some sort of ripple effect. This is why it is so important to pause before we respond. I saw this example one time and I've never forgotten it. Imagine the hurtful or offensive things that people say and do as a nail being hammered into plywood. Each time a nail is hammered in, it creates a hole in the wood. When the nails are in the wood, the hurt is visible. Yes, you can take the nails out, you can paint over it, you can cover it with a picture so that it's not seen, but the holes are still there and never fully go away. This is why it's so important to choose our words carefully. This same principle applies to things said and done to us. We may never be able to forget what is said and done to us, but we do have a choice about how we let things affect us. When we let things weigh us down, the only person that it truly hurts is us. The person who has hurt us has most likely already moved on. To wrap this up, remember these tips to not take up an offense. Tip 1 was to look at the big picture of how the offense plays into your life before acting. Tip 2 was to not give the other person's comment or action control over your life. And tip 3 was to realize it's not always about you. Many times things are said and done innocently. The final thought was to realize that you may be the one offending others, even unintentionally, so choose your words and actions carefully. Life has so much more to offer when we're not carrying the extra weight of taking up an offense. Drop the offense once and for all. Your life and the lives of those around you will be much better off. Bitterness robs you of so much joy. Until next time, strive to be a leader who inspires and leads with greatness.